Let's build your favorite boar head wearing character from Demon Slayer as a playable character in Dungeons & Dragons. First things first, we gotta pick a race, and you could always go with variant human and throw on that boar head as a mask, but in most anime and in a lot of media, orcs are actually depicted as more boar-like. So because of that, I'm going to choose a half orc for the race. This gives us three very important features, especially pertaining to this character. 1, you get the feature Menacing. This gives us the skill Intimidation. 2, you get Relentless Endurance. So now if you're dropped to 0 hit points but not killed outright, you can actually drop to 1 hit point instead. But you can only do this once per long rest. And 3, we get Savage Attacks. So if you critically hit with a melee weapon attack, you can roll 1 extra dice. So usually when you crit, you get to roll twice the amount of dice, but now it'll be 3 times. And we're definitely gonna play into this a lot because you do very viciously attack and go all out. Then when it comes to a background, you did kind of grow up in the mountains far away from everything. So we're gonna grab the background, Outlander. This gives us skill proficiencies in athletics and survival. Then before we jump into the stats, gotta call out, if you like D&D related content, make sure to subscribe. It really helps the channel. It lets the algorithm know you want to see more of this type of stuff, and it apparently makes it so you roll more nat 20s in your D&D sessions. But as far as the ability scores, I'm gonna go with a point spread that looks like this. Very, very focused on most of those physical skills because you do tend to have a bit of a screw loose as this character. Then when it comes to a starting class, we're going to go with Barbarian. You do tend to attack pretty viciously and mercilessly and without a single thought in your head sometimes. You just know to hit harder and stronger, and Barbarian is very fitting for that. Barbarians have the most starting health out of any class in D&D. They get a base of 12 for their starting health plus their Constitution modifier. Additionally, they get proficiency in light and medium armor, shields, and all weapons. Then you get 2 skill proficiencies, and you do have that beast sense breathing thing, so we're going to go ahead and grab Perception to really amp that idea up, and then because you're so tied to animals, especially wearing that boar head, we're going to go ahead and grab Animal Handling. Then at first level of Barbarian, you get the feature Rage. You have a set amount of times that you can rage per day, but that does increase as you level up in Barbarian. You can activate your Rage as a bonus action, and when you do, you wind up getting resistance to basically all normal types of damage. You gain advantage on strength checks and strength saving throws, and you get bonus damage to melee weapon attacks. It's only a +2, but that does upgrade as you level up in Barbarian. But this is actually going to amp up a little more because we are very focused on dual wielding short swords. It is very iconic for the character, and because of this, you wind up being able to do an attack as your action and as your bonus action on every turn, and that +2 from your rage damage bonus gets to apply to both of them. So that rage bonus goes a little bit further. Additionally, at first level of Barbarian, you are not wearing much armor, so you do get unarmored defense, meaning that your armor class equals 10 plus your Constitution modifier plus your Dexterity modifier. Then at second level of Barbarian, you get Reckless Attack, meaning that you can now attack at advantage as long as you're willing to give your enemies advantage against you. And when you use this, it is active for the entirety of the round, meaning that you can attack with your action, your bonus action, and then if you get any opportunity attacks, you can attack then too, all at advantage. Also at second level of Barbarian, you get Danger Sense, meaning that you get advantage on Dexterity saving throws as long as you can kind of see it coming, which again plays into that high perception that you have. Then at third level of Barbarian, you get a Primal Path, which is basically just a subclass. And you are very tied to animals, and you wear what is essentially a totem of an animal on your head, so I'm going to choose the subclass Totem Warrior. This gives us the ability to cast Beast Sense and speak with animals, thanks to the feature Spirit Seeker, but you also, more importantly, get a Totem Spirit. And while they don't have a boar spirit, at least not yet, we do have something semi-close with a bear. So while you're raging, if you focus on this spirit of the bear, you wind up being able to get resistance to more types of damage. So usually rage gives you resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing. But having the bear spirit active makes it so now you have resistance to all types of damage except for psychic. Then at fourth level of Barbarian, we get an ability score improvement. So let's go ahead and focus on that strength more than anything. Then at 5th level of Barbarian, we get an extra attack. So now we can attack twice as our action and once as our bonus action as long as we're still dual wielding. And we are very well known for our intense speed. So also at 5th level, you get fast movement, permanently boosting your movement speed by 10 feet. Then at 6th level of Barbarian, we get another feature from being a totem warrior. And this is called Aspect of the Beast. And this is where we're really going to get that breath technique for a very high perception by taking the aspect of the eagle. This gives us eyesight of an eagle in this situation, allowing you to see up to 1 mile away, and dim light doesn't impose disadvantage on your perception checks. Now I want to go ahead and do a multi-class, and I want to really hammer in on the ferocity of the character. So I'm going to jump over to Fighter. This gives us a fighting style right away, so we're going to take 2-weapon fighting. So now when we're attacking with that offhand as our bonus action, we can still apply our strength modifier to the damage. Additionally, we get Second Wind. So you can use your bonus action to heal a number of hit points equal to 1d10 plus your fighter level, which you can do once per short or long rest. Then at 2nd level of fighter, we get Action Surge. And here's where we get to really amp up that intensity, because once per short or long rest, you can take 2 actions in a single turn. So now you can attack twice as your action and once as your bonus action. Then at 3rd level of fighter, you get a Martial Archetype, otherwise known as a fighter subclass. And I want to focus less on technique or anything like that, and more just pure savage ferocity here. So we're going to go ahead and take the Champion subclass. This is one of the more simple subclasses to take as a fighter, but it does help with getting critical hits, because the very first feature it gives us is improved critical. So now we can score a critical hit on a 19 or a 20 on the d20 dice, when usually you would just have to roll a 20, meaning that we double our crit range. And remember, we're attacking 3 times by default. So we have a very good chance of critting, and we can use Action Surge to boost up those chances even further. And on top of that, thanks to being a half orc, we can now get an extra set of dice when we do crit. Then at 4th level of fighter, we get another ability score improvement, so let's go ahead and max out that strength. And then I was very tempted to go with a multi-class here and jump over to Monk, because you do have some hand-to-hand combat abilities, but that wouldn't really allow us to boost up the character that much. We would kind of be falling short in a lot of ways, because monks very heavily focus on using up your bonus action, and we don't want to do that since we're focused so heavily on dual wielding. So throw the monk aside and keep going as fighter for right now. The only downside is that at 5th level of fighter, we get extra attack, and we already have the basic form of extra attack thanks to being a barbarian. So we basically get nothing from this next level. However, once we get to 6th level of fighter, we get another ability score improvement. So let's go ahead and boost up our constitution by 2 points. This is going to help a lot of our stuff thanks to being a barbarian, but in general it also helps our health. Then at 7th level of fighter, we get another feature from being a champion called Remarkable Athlete. So if you ever have to make any sort of check related to your strength, dexterity, or constitution, you can add half your proficiency bonus if you don't already have proficiency in it. Additionally, whenever you make a running long jump, you can increase the jump distance by an amount equal to your strength modifier. Then at 8th level of fighter, we get another ability score improvement. So let's go ahead and focus on that constitution again, maxing it out, helping our health and our armor class. Then at 9th level of fighter, we get Indomitable, allowing us to re-roll a saving throw. Then at 10th level of fighter, we get another feature from being a champion, allowing us to get another fighting style. So since nothing really applies, because we could get defense but we don't actually wear armor, and that's kind of a requirement, we're going to go ahead and take Superior Technique. This allows us to learn a maneuver from the Battle Master Maneuvers list. So we're going to take Disarming Attack, because you do have a habit of chopping off limbs, even though that's not technically what the name means. But this allows us to add a d6, and then whoever you're attacking might lose their grasp on their weapon, as long as they fail a saving throw. But the most important part of this maneuver is that it's based off of when you hit, you can apply it, which means you can save it for when you crit. So now you get to roll 1d6 for the basic damage of that sword, another d6 thanks to the critical strike, one more d6 thanks to critting as a half orc, and then you can go ahead and save that superiority dice that you would roll for that maneuver as another d6, which you get to double, increasing the amount of dice you rolled by another 2 dice thanks to the crit. So that brings you up to a total of 5d6 for a single critical hit. And the chances of you critting on a turn is actually about to improve, because at 11th level of fighter, you get another extra attack, meaning that now you get to attack 3 times per action. And then you get 1 more attack as your bonus action. And you can also use Action Surge, meaning you can get 6 attacks as your action, meaning that you can have a total of 7 attacks. Don't forget, you can use Reckless Attack to have advantage on all of those attacks, really making it a pretty high probability of being able to crit. But we have enough from Fighter for right now. So let's go ahead and jump back over to Barbarian, because I want to get that crit a little better. So at 7th level of Barbarian, there's the optional feature Instinctive Pounce. So when you go into a rage, you can get an additional amount of movement equal to half of your total movement speed. Also at 7th level, you get Feral Instinct, giving you advantage on your initiative checks, and you basically can't be surprised. Then at 8th level of Barbarian, you get another ability score improvement. So let's go ahead and boost up our Dexterity, really helping our armor class. And then at 9th level of Barbarian, you get Brutal Critical, meaning that you can roll an additional dice when you crit, really turning this build into a major crit fishing build, because now you can attack 3 times as your action, 3 times as your action surge, and 1 more time as your bonus action. You can go ahead and give yourself advantage on all of that thanks to Reckless Attack. And then when you crit, you can get a total of 6d6 dice to roll on that crit. And then don't forget to add in your +5 for your strength modifier and another +3 thanks to your rage damage bonus, meaning that your crits hit pretty darn hard and you have a lot of attacks benefiting from both your strength modifier and your rage damage bonus. And overall, I think it really nails the ferocity of the character. But let me know what you think about this build in the comments down below. I would totally have fun playing this. I think I'm pretty spot on. I tried to not give him too many mental stats because he's a little bit kooky, to say the least. And if you want access to the character sheet for this build or any of my other builds, feel free to check out my Patreon, linked in the description down below. We can be just as awesome as some of these folks scrolling on by. They really help the channel, and I have some especially awesome player character patrons: Alone, The Holy 999s, Christopher Sams, Dark of Skies, Barrow Scruel, Zach, Felix Ulick, The 10586, Barrelisk, Kevin Shirley, Zephyros, That Funny Man 57, Joshua Maynard, CGC 2014, Panda Milkshake, Ted Z, Andrew Nobles, Karkat Kitsune, Deckard Joint, Z13, Viral Nerevar, Daniel Galvin, and the Dino 21. Then there's the Dungeon Master level patrons I played D&D with: Silas Uchiha 696, T Brownie, Julia B. De Oliveira, Just Wolf, Shane Gilroy, Daniel Safler, Conman ZX, Cyberciety, and Salvador. And if you made it all the way to the end of this video, let me know by hitting that like button, and I'll be here helping you roll at least 3 nat 20s in your next D&D session, especially if you want your character to go ahead and throw on a boar head and just attack mercilessly with insane ferocity and really fishing for some critical hits, bringing a bit of Demon Slayer into your Dungeons & Dragons campaign.
This is great! It's going so fast! Get back in here! That's dangerous! Let me at him! I want to race to see who's faster on foot!